So I thought I'd do another video because I got new skates. If you've seen some of my previous videos, you may have seen that I was skating the Them 909s. About maybe a month and a half ago, I stopped skating those because I was starting to really feel the end of the shell in my toes. I think that's a result of just the cold weather here in Connecticut. I was skating the medium 909s and I'm solid 11 and a half. So it was a very, very close fit. And I was making it work, but I think as soon as it started to get cold, I realized how small they are. So because the mediums like almost fit, they actually fit pretty well on my right foot, but my left foot's a little bit bigger, and that's the one where it's an issue. So because the mediums are that close, the large is just much too big for me. And I like to have a nice close fit. I'm pretty particular about that. So I switched over to Razor's Colts. I had posted a previous video where I was skating the SLs. I liked those a lot, but they're a little too wide for my foot. I went back to Colts, which I had skated a long time ago. I always liked them. I liked the simple boots. As you know, well, you might not know, but if you've seen my other videos, you'll know that I skated M12s for a while. But anyway, the Colts are a similar slim boot. So I had the graphites, which are sweet. I like them a lot. But I recently found out that the shifts were a slim boot based on the Cult, and I had assumed that they were wide like the SLs or the Genesis. So that got me thinking that I wanted to try them because I really liked how the SLs felt. I liked how they had sort of refined the shell, but they're just too big. So I thought the SLs would be perfect. So I just got them today from Oak City Skate Shop, the best skate shop in the world. And I just have to say that they're pretty delightful. I love the way they look. One of the reasons I'm skating Razors is because they have a 10-11 shell as opposed to an 11-12 shell like the M12s. So that allows me to just fit into this shell, whereas with the M12s, the shell is like, I'm on the lower end of that, so there's like extra room in the end, and these are a pretty close fit. They're definitely close in size to the Colts. I have some shells to compare, so I took two of them apart. So when I was looking at the numbers, I saw that the shifts were like 2 millimeters longer, so I was kind of worried about that because the Colts fit me perfectly. But they're pretty much identical. I think the 2 millimeter difference is probably because the sole plate sticks out further here, and there's, I don't know, it's more smooth on this skate. I don't know. Maybe they're just measured differently because they're pretty much identical in length. They definitely have bigger soles, which should be kind of cool. I left frames on two of them so that I could compare them side by side so you can see the differences. This is very tricky to show. Okay, there you go. So you can see the difference. The SLs are definitely a bit bigger. The negative is what I'm most enthusiastic about because I have been doing more negative tricks lately. So they're not massive soles, but they're definitely bigger than like a Cult. But just the boot itself is really nice. I like how smooth and simple it is. They have this extra lace hole, which is supposed to help pull your heel in to eliminate some heel lift, which I like. I'm not psyched about these crappy plastic buckles that they like to put on their skates. but I don't know. Maybe they're fine. Maybe they're like extra light or something. I'll skate them for a little while and see if I switch. They came on my Colts too, but I ended up putting my 909 buckles on there because they're aluminum. There's a cool little razors thing in the back of the shell. What I wasn't expecting was the shifts to be lighter. And I know that they're like a slim design and refined, but the Colts are, you know, people like them because they're super lightweight. But I weighed them without liners, so just the same setup for each. Shells, cuffs, buckles. And there's a fairly significant difference. The shift is 2 pounds, 2.8 ounces, and the Colt is 2 pounds, 6 ounces. So I remember when I compared the M12s and the Colts were actually lighter than the M12s, which I was surprised about too. So the shifts are even lighter than both of those. So that's awesome. These liners, they look pretty good. They are the Razor's Rain like combination thing. They look pretty good. They fit me. I was worried they wouldn't fit me because the size 11 Colt liners definitely don't fit me, but those are much lower quality than these. These are clearly much better materials. They have neoprene in the toe area. They have lacing at the top. Kind of wish it went all the way down, but I think that's okay. And this heel has got like a nice rubbery material on it, which is cool. Seems like that will hold it in place. I've been a big fan of the MyFit crown liners, so this is what I've been skating. But I'm gonna give these rain liners a try and see if I want to switch back to these. I like that these lace all the way up, but these are definitely thicker up here in like the tongue area and the sides. I don't know if that matters to me. This is more of a denser, thinner foam. But they seem like good liners, so I'm gonna give them a go. I think that's all I have to say for now. Hi. So I know it seems like no time has gone by. You've been watching this video, and now all of a sudden I'm in the future. I know it's hard to believe, but let me show you. I just showed you these skates a minute ago, and they're brand new. And now they're not brand new. So that's proof that we're in the future. So it's been a little over 2 weeks since I recorded the first part, and I've had a chance to skate the new shifts a lot, more than usual. I was actually doing a 30-day skating challenge where I rollerbladed every single day and posted at least a clip from that day on Instagram just to hold myself accountable. So I've skated on the shifts every single day since I recorded the first part a little over 2 weeks ago. So I think the timing was good because I started the 30-day challenge previous. So I was skating my Colts every day up until I started skating these. So I feel like there's a lot of experience on both skates. So let's get into it. I like them a lot. I think they're great. I've said that in a lot of other reviews, but I think these really are my favorite skates so far. The fit wasn't perfect. I had to make some adjustments. So I know before I held the boots up to each other and you could see that they're about the same size all around, which is true. However, there's a couple areas, most notably right here across the toe bridge. Is that what it is? Is that a term? I don't know. But for right here, there was a lot of pressure on me, and it hurt, and it sucked. So I actually ended up heating this up a little bit with a heat gun, but it's basically just blow dryer. Blow dryer would work as well. I heated it up for a minute, and then I just pushed up from underneath with the end of a screwdriver, like the handle end, and I was able to just move it up a little bit without deforming the skate or anything, and it just relieved some of that pressure. But other than that, the fit is very similar to the Colts. They just, for some reason, this toe area is a little bit tighter. But in terms of like the rest of the shell, they feel the same as the Colts. I did have some discomfort as they were breaking in. The ball of my foot was going numb, and I don't know if that is directly a result of the skates, because I also put Superfeet carbon liners in footbeds for the first time, and I know that those take a little while to break in, or so I'm told, so it could be a result of that. But right now, after skating them this whole time, they're pretty great. They're comfortable. I like them. I'm still skating the rain liners. I tried to put the crown liners in, and the pressure in the toe box, right on this like toe bridge area, was more so than these liners. I think there's a slight amount of padding where the tongue starts on the crowns that is thinner on these rain liners, so they felt better. But these liners are good. I like them. I'm happy with them. They're a little bit thinner in the cuff area, but they're still nice and supportive. It's like a denser foam up here. I'm gonna keep skating them. I might try to get Danny Veer Intuitions just to see if they fit me, because the medium V2s are too small and the large V2s are too big. But since the Danny Veers come in individual sizing, that might be a good match for me. So in terms of skating and tricks and stuff, most things are easier. However, this really precise groove in the backslide plate area in the sole, I'm trying to figure out the best angle to show it. Okay, there. So it's really deep. So this feels great when you're doing like a Royale or a backslide. But for me, unities and like unity variations, alley-oop unities or Savannahs, whatever you want to call them, those aren't as easy for me because it sort of pushes my foot to like lock it perfectly. Whereas in the Colts, it's more flat here, and I can sort of just rest the boot there and it goes. I can definitely still do them, and it's gotten better as I've gotten used to the skates. I think it's just something to get used to, because you have to be more precise. And I guess that's a good thing because it forces me to have better form. But other than that, a lot of things are a lot easier. Since I've started skating again, have done some negative things, which I never did in the past. Not negative things, negative tricks. I'm trying to be positive here. And these skates make negatives so much easier than the Colts. They have a solid negative area. It's not huge. It's not like shadow huge, but I don't know what it is. They just lock really, really well. I've been doing a lot of negative porn stars, or stars, if you will. And they just are such a comfortable, solid trick for me now, which is weird because I never did them in the past. Quick recap, I skated for a big part of my life and then stopped for about 10 years, and I started again this summer. But anyway, never did a negative porn star before I quit skating. So this is a new thing in my old age. I've even done a negative acid with these, which is kind of cool. Never thought I'd do that. So negatives are great. The sole is good. One other thing to mention about the sole is I have not been skating them with the bolts since the shifts have that quick release system, which I'll try to show you in a minute. I haven't had any issues skating them without the bolts. I know Long at Oak City said that maybe I should skate them because I'm kind of a large person, weigh like 215. So, you know, there's a lot of meat sliding around on these skates, but I haven't had any issues at all. So I'm gonna keep skating them this way. The soles aren't particularly fast. I think maybe the 909s may have been a little bit faster or equivalent. They're just not like a standout thing. They're not like extra fast or something. They're fine. But everything else is great. I really think that this extra hole over here really helps to pull your heel in so you don't get heel lift. I think it actually works really, really well, especially paired with wax laces. It's great. I don't feel like I get any heel lift in these. And I started to be able to do like toe rolls a lot better than I used to be able to do. And I think that's definitely a result of how locked in my foot is. Also the gray. I love the gray. Gray is sweet. You also may notice that I'm on a different frame set. So I really liked the Wish medium frames, but I just had this desire to try a traditional like small wheel flat setup. This was sort of inspired by the fact that my Wish frames had gotten pretty worn down, and the wheels I was skating were pretty worn, and they were pretty small. And I was actually skating like 60 millimeter wheels on the outside, and that's pretty tiny for Wish frames. And if I got new ones and tried to skate that small of a wheel, I think I would have a bad time because my frame sidewalls would be hitting. But because they were so worn, I wasn't having that problem. But I just liked how low it was, and it made me miss that sort of low profile setup. And the shifts, as you can see, the frame is like inset into the shell, which is really cool. So it makes it even lower. So I thought, you know, let's see how great it'll feel with an even like a lower profile frame. So I started doing more research on flat frames that were a little bit more forgiving, because that was a concern for me. I'm definitely a grinder. That's mostly what I do, grind a lot of ledges. So I wasn't willing to like skate something that was gonna give me wheel bite or be kind of tricky. I think I decided that like the two options I was considering were the Kizer Fluid Vs and the ground control mega frames, and possibly the Celtics, but I don't know. Anyway, I ended up getting these Fluid Vs from Long at Oak City, and I have to say they've been pretty great. They are a nice hard material, so they slide really fast, and I'm skating them with 55/92 in the middle. I was skating 55/92 flat on all the wheels up until yesterday. I actually just got a set of Eulogy 54s because I wanted a little bit of rocker. So I've got the 55s in the middle, 54 on the outside. That's one thing I did miss from the Wish frames. There's like a little bit of rocker built in. So I missed that swiveliness, if you will. So I'm going to try out these smaller wheels on the outside. I love the way this feels. Very little wheel bite, lots of grinding room, but still nice and flat and simple. The only downside I would have to say is because I'm a bigger guy, I go through wheels a little bit faster. And when I'm starting out this small, it means they're going to get small quickly. But they haven't felt slow. They feel quick, nice and peppy. I feel like I can accelerate quickly. I don't feel like I lose speed because it's a flat setup. I feel like it's, equivalent to like a much bigger outside wheel with anti-rocker. Like maybe a six, feels like at least as fast as if you're running 60s on the outside with anti-rocker, because the flat is just a smoother thing that helps you maintain speed. But I've skated all kinds of things with these frames and gotten very, very little wheel bite. In fact, the other day I skated some really rough curb thing and it was totally fine. So it's great. I also think these shells are good for a flat setup because the frame is inset into the boot. It makes the distance between the bottom of the frame and the boot closer. So when you're skating a flat frame that has a more shallow groove, so like a shallow groove is better for flat because it protects the wheels a little bit. Whereas if you had a deeper groove, the wheels will be more exposed. But because the groove is lower, there's more wheel protection. So the groove is lower, but the frame sits higher and the sole is wider. So that distance to the boot is pretty low. So the combination of it being inset into the frame and the slightly larger sole plate helps. Wow, I'm having a hard time explaining this. If you had a tall frame and it wasn't inset in the boot, that bottom of the frame would be way down here. And if you were running a skate with like a slim, like a small sole, like an M12 or something like that, and you wanted to make sure you got down to the boot, you'd have to go really far because the frame is really tall. So the frame would hit and then you'd have all the angle here. So I feel like these are a great compromise because I've got the low groove in the frame, but it's offset by the boot. So when you do a Royale, you still have to lean. So it's not like one of those skates where it just totally ruins your style. It's not a steez leech, as Joey McGarry would say, like the Aeon or like a Shadow. Not to say people in those skates don't have good style. There's plenty of people who have good style in those skates. But you still have to lean into this, but it's nowhere near what it would be in a different setup. Kizer Fluid Vs, approve. Shifts, approve. Do like these a lot. I'm skating the Kakoa Bagoda leather straps. Like those. The support isn't an issue because the cuffs are pretty high. They feel good. Everything feels good. Love these skates. Let me do a demo of doing the quick release thing to see how well that goes on film because it's kind of hard. So you got these buttons here. Push those. And then the sole plate thing. Oh, it's going. All right, once that comes off, then you got this, and then you just pop that off. Pretty cool. So you can see there's this hole in the bottom. So that's the hole I use to push out this. You can't tell the liner's in here, but when you take the liner out, you got this opening on the bottom. So I just heated this up and then just went in from the bottom and just pushed up on that a little bit. So when you want to put these back together, you just push that in like that and take this sole plate thing, and then you just click it in. Look at that. Switch so fast. All right, I hope this was helpful. These are my shifts. Like them very much. See a little swivel with my rockered wheels. You may have noticed my crazy shirt. One of the new FKPV shirts, which, if you don't know, is the newer version of my clothing company that I used to have back in the day called Print Brigade. I always hated the name. So when me and Jamie Moret relaunched it to make some shirts because we wanted them, I decided to change the name to FKPB, which stands for formerly known as Print Brigade. Also looks like Buck Print Brigade, which is kind of funny. We redid our I Still Rollerblade shirt, which was pretty popular back in the day. And we got a bunch of other stuff, so if you want to check that out, there's a link in the profile to our shop. And that's it. Talk to you soon.